High in the desert wind, under an indifferent sun, the pyramids of Giza stood silent and eternal. Their massive stones rose into the blue sky, secret keepers of centuries. No one alive had seen their building. Still, many wondered, how were they really built? Abara, a young archaeologist from Cairo, stepped onto the plateau at dawn. She carried a leather satchel and a journal. She had come not only to study the stones, but to feel the traces of the people who labored in their shadows. She believed that behind every block, behind every passage lay human stories, of hands that touched stone, of lives that touched each other. She paused before the Great Pyramid Khufu's. The sheer scale sent a shiver down her spine. Scholars estimated its construction around 2560 BC. Some say 20,000 to 30,000 workers toiled for 2 decades to raise some 6 million tons of limestone. Scrib plus one. Legends of slave labor endure in popular imagination, but more recent studies say otherwise. These were skilled laborers, fed and housed. Scribed Abara traced with her fingers the fine, worn edges of a stone block. She wondered, who touched this before? Craftsmen smoothing surfaces, haulers dragging sledges, overseers guiding ramps. Their touches left invisible fingerprints on the structure. She opened her journal and recalled what she had learned. The builders didn't use wheels for the heaviest stones. Wheels likely existed for lighter loads, but not massive slabs. Scribed, they used ramps, sledges, and clever methods of lubrication. Wet sand in front of sledges to reduce friction. Some ramp theories propose straight ramps, others spiral or zigzag ones up the pyramid face. Scholars debate. Abara climbed a pathway toward one of the entrances. As she walked, she recited a mental litany of names she imagined. Sahai, the stone block slider, Nefert, the scribe, Merain, the ramp builder, Aset, the cook who fed the workers. Each name was fictional, but she treated them as echoes of real men and women long gone. Inside, the corridors were cool, the air faint with dust and silence. She paused in what might be a chamber or passage, shining her flashlight along the walls. The shadows flickered. She felt as though someone touched her, not physically, but in resonance. That night, she met with Omar, a local historian who had studied hieroglyphs and oral traditions. They sat under the starlit desert. Omar said, "Abara, we forget that these pyramids were not made by a faceless mass. They were made by communities. Farmers, carvers, engineers. When the Nile flooded, fields lay idle. So people turned to the pyramid site. They touched the stones and touched each other through shared effort." Abara nodded. She wanted to believe that this work created more than monuments. It created bonds. She asked, "But where is the proof? How do we know these were not slaves?" Omar traced a line in the sand. "We found workers' cemeteries, well-fed, well-buried. They had breaks, medical care. These were people honored, not abused souls. Their remains show care." He continued, "And new techniques. Cosmic ray immune tomography revealed a large void above the grand gallery, a hidden chamber akin in cross-section to the gallery itself. Archrope. That suggests the architects included complex internal design we are only now glimpsing. This complexity demands coordinated workmanship planning. Pride Abara's mind spun. Each new discovery seemed to deepen the mystery. How did they align the pyramid so precisely to the cardinal points? How did they coordinate tens of thousands without modern tools? In the nights that followed, Abara roamed the plateau, sketching blocks, measuring joints, listening to winds and cracks. She felt the weight of centuries pressing on her shoulders, but she also felt presence. A hammer's echo, the slap of a sledge over sand, a chant at dawn. One morning, she discovered an inscription in an out-of-the-way corridor, a small graffito, a name in ancient hieratic script, Neferu, son of Ken. A mason's name. She nearly gasped. She copied it into her journal. She thought, he touched this corridor. His hand scraped this stone. Maybe he died working. Maybe his family remembered him. With Omar's help, she sought archival records and earlier excavation notes. There was mention of similar mason names in workers' villages nearby. The more she dug, the more she felt she was resurrecting lives lost. One evening, Abara sat beneath the Great Pyramid's slope reading from her journal. She whispered, "Neferu, Sahai, Meren. The name's faint, but your work stands." The desert wind stirred the sand. She felt a phantom caress, as if a hand brushed her shoulder. It was in that moment she realized who men touch. They touch stone, they touch memory, they touch future discoverers. The pyramid is more than geometry and engineering. It is a nexus of touch. Touch past, arrow, touch present, arrow, touch future. Back in Cairo, she prepared a lecture for students and tourists.